So we all remember our childhood, don't we? I have some fond memories of growing up on a mango farm in a small village in India. I remember very clearly, we didn't have paved roads. Very few people had electricity. Most people used to fetch water from open wells, and most houses didn't have toilets. It was rare if you had a landline phone, a black and white TV, or a motorcycle. It's been 30 years since, and when I go back to my village today, I see beautifully paved roads, many more people having access to electricity. I see people with mobile phones, flat-screen TVs with hundreds of channels, many motorcycles, and even cars. So clearly, a lot has changed for the better over the past 30 years. However, I still see that people don't have access to clean drinking water. Those who can afford buy it from a private company that would deliver it in those 5-gallon plastic water bottles like the ones we have around our water coolers. Many more toilets have been built, but not everyone uses them. This might as well be the story of development over the past 30 years. Governments and international aid institutions have invested billions of dollars in building basic infrastructure like roads, power plants, schools, and hospitals. There's been a lot of progress that has been made. But is it enough? Is it enough when millions of people today still are without access to basic necessities like clean drinking water, sanitation, good education, or access to primary health care? It's astounding that today, every 20 seconds, a child dies as a result of poor sanitation. As about 2.5 billion people are without access to adequate sanitation. Even today, every year, close to 1 million people still die because of water-related disease. So how long can we wait? How long can we wait till these problems are resolved? Could we afford to wait another 10, 20, or 30 years till the countries are able to build and deliver piped water to every single household, even in the remotest of areas? Answer, in my view, is very clear. I do not think we can wait, nor can we only rely on the traditional means that have been used to solve these problems. We know that the solutions exist. Solutions sometimes small, sometimes not fully matured. Often the solutions are in the same geography as the problem, sometimes in a similar context, maybe across the country, or maybe across the continent, and sometimes in a totally different sector. Let's talk about one such example. How about an ATM? You might be thinking, what's an ATM got to do with any of this? I'm talking about a different kind of ATM. I'm talking about a water ATM. People can go to this ATM and get few liters of clean drinking water for pennies. The beauty of this ATM is that they're designed to be self-sufficient and self-standing. They filter water on-site and can also operate without a piped water connection. This allows these ATMs to be placed throughout slums, in villages, so that people don't have to trudge long distances and waste many hours for few liters of clean drinking water. Is this the best solution for delivering clean drinking water? Perhaps not. But it surely beats the alternative of having to wait for another 10, 20, or 30 years till the countries are able to build and deliver piped water to every single household. And for some communities, like the ones who live in urban slums, this might be the only option to get clean drinking water. These ATMs are built and operated by social entrepreneurs who often struggle to scale their businesses. And one of the key reasons for this is they operate in an environment, in a policy environment, that is not conducive for their growth, expansion, or operation. So they succeed despite the policy, not because of it. Let's take another example. How about a mobile phone? You know, when the mobile phones first came out, they were thought of as gadgets for the rich, isn't it? Who would have imagined that they would become a platform for engaging the citizens, delivering key services like a crop price to a farmer, important health information to a mother, allowing migrants to send money to their families back home who often rely on it for their survival, or even for monitoring elections. We see similar potential in other technologies, like 3D printing, like big data, fast-spreading smartphones, and drones, not the big scary kind, the small friendly kinds. We know that the cities are growing exponentially. More than half of the world's population today lives in urban areas. These high population densities and unplanned growth have made the cities very vulnerable to natural disasters like flooding and earthquakes. We know what happened after Hurricane Katrina a few years ago, and more recently, after the earthquake in Nepal. The urban planners and the city administrators, they need detailed maps that can be frequently updated to better understand these vulnerabilities. What we find that most cities, they do not have access to this data, often because it's very expensive to get satellite data, it's not detailed enough, or it's not easily accessible. This limits their ability to prepare and respond to such natural disasters. Now imagine if you had a low-cost, friendly drone. If the cities had it, they could use it to create and update these detailed maps. This would allow them to be better prepared for the next natural disaster. So on one hand, we know what the problems are. On the other hand, we know we have these innovative solutions. But the question is, how do we bridge this gap? How do we bring them together? So let me take you back to my village. When my grandfather was my age, he lived in the same village. The village happened to be on the wrong side of the river. What I mean by that is the basic necessities like food, medicines, doctors, were available in the town that was across the river. But there was no bridge. So the only way to cross the river was to walk through it, if it was low tide, or use small boats. Sometimes people lost their lives trying to cross that river if it was flooding, or were left without access to the key necessities. They needed a bridge desperately. My grandfather was educated and politically active, so he lobbied the government for the bridge. The government was short on funds, and they asked if my grandfather could pitch in 100,000 rupees, which is about $200,000 today, but a lot of money in India in the 1950s. So he went to villages all around who also needed the bridge. He went from village to village on a horse cart. Every village gave some money here and there, and after 1 year, he was able to raise 100,000 rupees. The government pitched in the rest, and the bridge was built. Thank you. That bridge exists today. It still stands. As I went back home this summer, I stood on that bridge. I realized how that bridge has transformed the lives of thousands of people over the years. What my grandfather did was truly remarkable and innovative. After all, how many people do you know who crowdfunded a bridge? It's been an inspiration to me. I reflect on the work that we are doing at the World Bank's Innovation Labs. I think of it as helping to build that bridge that connects the innovations to the people who need them the most. We no longer can wait, nor can we afford to only use the traditional means. When we know that the solutions exist, be it the small social entrepreneur, be it the emerging technology, we must focus our efforts in how we can accelerate their adoption, growth, and impact. We not only need to raise the awareness amongst the policymakers, among the development practitioners, or among the bureaucrats, we must also put in the effort to connect these innovations to the problem and the people on the ground. I believe this is the role that the international aid agencies could play, and indeed should play. We should use our convening power, our knowledge, our finance to incentivize and encourage the governments to embrace these non-traditional models and innovations. For it is not one big idea that will end poverty. It is the bridge that connects the ideas, the government, the private sector, and the people that will end poverty. So let us all work together to build that bridge so that no child has to die because of want of few liters of clean drinking water. Thank you. Thank you.